Коллеги, добрый день. Всех рад приветствовать сегодня в этом зале на Сабантуе, Зауралье-2021. Зовут меня Маняпов Ринат, я являюсь руководителем представительства Российского экспортного центра в Уфе. Сегодня мы с вами собрались поговорить про цифровизацию экспорта. И у нас достаточно хорошая, скажем так, хороший состав спикеров. Я представлю, с вашего позволения, с телефона, чтобы не ошибиться. Маргарита Дмитриевна Болычева, это председатель Государственного комитета по внешнеэкономической связи и конгрессной деятельности. Чекушев Роман Андреевич, директор департамента международной кооперации, лицензирования в сфере внешней торговли Министерства промышленности и торговли Российской Федерации. Он к нам подключится онлайн. Вице-президент Российского экспортного центра по реализации проекта «Одно окно» Михайлик Алексей Викторович тоже подключится онлайн. Имекс Абрацумян Тимур Гарибович, директор компании Имекс Analytics. Маматов Альберт Ремович, заместитель директора по развитию НПП «Кристалл», директор по направлению электронной коммерции Орлов Артем Михайлович, компания «Викон», генеральный директор компании B2B КЗ Саркисеева Алма Назымбековна и руководитель отдела продаж торгового дома завод весового оборудования Магафуров Ринат Даримович. Тема сегодняшнего нашего круглого стола – это секция цифровизации экспорта. Мы, конечно, понимаем в нынешнюю эпоху глобальных изменений не присутствие экспортера уже в каких-то цифровых технологиях, не использование этих цифровых технологий приводит к тому, что он не будет высокоэффективным, конкурентным, и, конечно же, он проиграет в любой борьбе за покупателя. У нас в республике достаточно хорошо выстроена система поддержки экспорта. В Республике Башкортостан у нас есть несколько, скажем так, профильное ведомство, Центр поддержки экспорта, представительство Российского экспортного центра. И хотелось бы отметить очень активную работу Центра поддержки экспорта Республики Башкортостан с точки зрения цифровизации наших республиканских экспортеров. И я хотел бы, наверное, услышать, Маргарита Дмитриевна, вас, чтобы вы рассказали, что мы делаем для того, чтобы наши экспортеры были максимально, скажем так, оцифрованы.
Большое спасибо, Ринат. Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Рада приветствовать вас в Сибае. Уже второй год мы на этой площадке говорим про экспорт. Если в прошлом году мы говорили про, вообще, в принципе, выход на экспорт, что такое бренд, мы слышали истории бренда Made in Tokyo, я рассказывала про Made in Башкортостан. Сегодня по логике у нас вроде как развитие идет. Да? Сегодняшняя секция – это уже углубленное изучение темы экспорта, казалось бы. В 2015 году я начинала писать диссертацию на журфаке в МГУ «Цифровизации современных новостных СМИ». И мой научный руководитель, декан, говорила мне всегда, что если ты там ближайший год диссертацию не напишешь, там не за 3 года, а за год.
She said that I had to write this thesis in 1 year, and if I didn't do it, then it would lose its relevance. So if I would write it for 3 years, it would just be non-relevant. And digitization was in the name of my thesis, and the head of the department of the journalism of Moscow State University found it very relevant to have these words in the name of the thesis. And of course, for me personally, so I haven't still defended it, I actually already have to change the topic. So for me personally, this trend of the Russian Federation government and the Republic of Bashkortostan government, this digitization is eminent. This year, we have opened, the Republic opened the Center for Control over Republic, the digital center, if you do not know about it. So we have a very unique management center compared to the other regions. We have a special program. So it is really management of the Republic center. So we are definitely managing the Republic. And I would like to say that every expert is working in this center, which gives us great digital results. For several months, we had it in our departments, in our body. So some information and some KPIs have been still hidden from our superiors. But today, at any point in time, our management and our leaders can get the statistical data and information about everything, so, including experts. Today, just like last year, our task is to develop non-raw material experts and experts here and now. So the digitization and the expert management is currently still under development. So, and so the fact that we're here now and we are discussing the digitization of experts, it is very important for us as the department which works with experts, because we want to create the proper system of accounting for the exporters, evaluation of exporters, assessment of exporters. And today it still is a challenge. We get the information from the customs service only and only when we address them to ask us some specific question. The general information, the overall information, is being summed up by us ourselves. Of course, we are making errors sometimes, but we still have the full understanding of the picture. However, specific information might come only if expert goes into digital domain. These are my personal words. I'm talking about on behalf of the ministry, which wants to understand what is happening to exporters. For example, this year we launched a project, the immediate support of the exporters, and we did the consulting research, and we have found several branches and areas for different exporters. So the potential exporters who are potentially ready for export, the ones who have already been exporting but somehow for some reason stopped doing this. So, and exporters who have not exported yet, but theoretically they might become exporters if they just perform several steps. And currently, it is the most important thing to understand who are the exporters who have been exporting, but they stopped doing that. To understand what was the reason for that. Exporter is a living organism, and you have to control it all the time. Currently, alas, there is no region, there is no exporter, there is no region which understands its exporter better than we do. We have established a dialogue with the exporters due to our business society, community, due to the work of our ministry. We know the overall mood, the situation as it is, with the rent and with the salaries, etc. But export itself is still a closed matter for everybody. And getting back to my own opinion, to conclude, I would like to say that I strive for KPIs, and this is the result of our work. But getting back to the country of the experts, so it is not important whether they are being calculated or assessed. It is important for them to have a chance to be an exporter. And it's a great initiative indeed. The Russian Expert Center has started to do the digitization of exports, starting from the exporters themselves. It is important for us to see, to feel, to supervise the exporters, but the federal center, the colleagues of the export center are looking at on the situation from the point of view of the exporters. And the current reality leads to the creation of a unique platform, one window platform. As it was highlighted by Renat today, indeed, we have lots of measures for support of the exporters in the Republic, but they're still doing it manually. You have to fill in the documents, sign papers, bring them to different bodies, ministries, take them to the state committee. We will put things into the register, we'll scan the documents, etc. So everything is rather specific and peculiar in the days of the modern age. Everything is being done by their cell phones, so I don't know. So there are working chats on Telegram and WhatsApp, and we are not using the emails anymore. But we are still making our exporters to get all the papers, to gather them all, to bring them to us within a month or a month and a half. So this format of one window is going to simplify the lives of both the exporters and ourselves, which is a key factor for us, which enables us to develop exports in general. If we're talking about the trend, if we're talking about the globalization, that everything is changing, etc. So I do not really agree that it's changing. Everything has already changed. So digitization have started long ago, but only today, just last year, in April, in May, when everybody understood that all the possibilities of sales abroad are closed, that there are no other options whatsoever. So the COVID-19 left us no other options, and only after that, our entrepreneurs started working on e-platforms. And as it has been highlighted by Renat, digitization is only starting for us because we do not understand that we have to change the mindset, the approach to our work. And we have faced a situation that last year we had lots of applications from our exporters who wanted to enter various trading platforms. And this is not rocket science indeed, but when it comes to good description of your products, good pictures of your product, good presentation of your product, we have found a special solution there. And during the last year, we have managed to digitize about 2,000 enterprises. We help them to enter the digital trading platforms. And last year, the producers and manufacturers of Republic of Bashkortostan have become third among the amount of registered entities on eBay. What does it say? Well, nothing basically. It just says that we did a good job and registered lots of people. So, and we really hope that this value is going to show that we will have the best sales. We do not know whether it will be true or not, so we will find it out later. Anyhow, right now we need to study the digitization and the transfer of our exporters to this platform of one window. Thank you very much. Okay, yes, Republic of Bashkortostan has been noticed on the level of the Republic of Bashkortostan, and the Center of Support for Exporters has proven this data. I would like to say a couple of words about the digitization of export. This is the work of the exporter himself from the point of view of digitization of his own or her own business and usage of the modern digital technologies. But it is also a direct work with the state bodies and ministries which are supposed to support the work, to regulate the work, to limit the work if it is needed. So I'm talking about the external economic affairs, first of all, of course. And I would like to highlight that the Ministry of Trade and industry of the Russian Federation is the main body which has been developing the means of state support for the exporters from Russia. And many people have been asking how exactly to get subsidized. And yes, Margarita Dmitrievna said that there had to be a great amount of papers that had to be signed and sent. So, and there were some compensations of various expenditures. So, and everything was on the level of federal subsidies. So, and I would like to ask Roman Andreevich, what is being done by the Ministry of Trade and Industry? How does it develop, and how is the measures of support are being digitized? Yes.
Thank you so much for inviting me to participate in Sabantui festivities. Indeed, Kazakhstan is one of the leaders, not only in the export of machinery, but also in agriculture. But in general, in terms of development of industrial production, we know that the Republic is rated as #1 among the regions of the given area, and I think it's very important that you hold the events of this kind where you discuss some vital and current affairs and issues of export development. Actually, the ministry which I represent, I will take some initiative to give a comment. We, in no way, we don't limit exports. We don't want to regulate too much. We don't want to control too much, but we want to be as administrators, as helpers, and we would like to find some mechanisms and methods which will help an exporting company uh, to gain the subsidy of the state in a quick and easy manner and to enter the market for a foreign company. But what is important in our work is to make exporting easy, and I can spend a lot of hours telling you about the measures of support of the government companies, which has come into effect starting from January 1st, 2021. Indeed, we've managed to differentiate the tools to make sure that an exporting company gains support at all the stages of an exporting project by continuing manufacturing during the shipment stage abroad, to receive income and surplus. So at all the stages, a company will receive support, not just on one or two, but all the stages. And I would like to get down to business without beating around the bush. And I would like to say that we made a huge work in terms of digitalization. Our approach is the following. First of all, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, we operate the system, an information system, where we try we try to include all the industrial companies in this system, in this register, digital online system, and make sure our communication is also digitalized. And regarding the exporters, I think you know that we have a federal project and some measures of support. We have a strategic initiative in place, which was proposed by the government of Mishustin, and it's a digital export platform. Alexei Mikhailuk, my colleague, will tell about it in more detail later on. But I would like to say that the logic of operation of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and Agricultural Ministry and Agency for the Export Development. So, first of all, we would like to go away from paperwork, and we would like to make the document exchange as digital as possible, document control as digital as possible. Secondly, we would like to decrease the number. We would like to decrease to get rid of the documents which are not necessary, to make the list as precise and as short as possible. For example, in terms of customs, taxation, and we, together with the Russian Expert Center, we have organized the digital document exchange. And you have mentioned right now about licensing of export and import operations. They're subject for a license. You have to obtain a license in order to export or import goods. And it is provided by the norms of our Eurasian Economic Union. And right now, we would like to upgrade the process of issuing licenses so that an exporter wouldn't have to go this long journey, first filing an application to the bank, which controls the exchange of the given goods, and then receive some paper-based certificate for the export of goods, then go to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, again paper documents, submit. And after that, this long journey, a company is ready to export. But what we would like to do, we would like to introduce a digital platform where a company could upload all the documents, and it will promptly be provided, submitted to the relevant agency, a licensor, for example, and the process of obtaining documents will be as quick as possible. And we would like to decrease the timeline from 30 to 10 or 5 days. The next thing that we're currently developing with our colleagues is try to bring to the minimum, to the zero, which the exporting company is providing. We should replace with some portfolio, which should replace them with digital documents which are obtained from a number of relevant agencies. So the exporter, everything the exporter would have to do, just fill in some fields without even uploading numerous documents. And actually, this work requires interdepartmental work. Several departments, state departments should work together. In Vladivostok, in the Eastern European Forum, I suggested all the stakeholders to prepare their solutions where we could possibly upgrade, where we could possibly improve, and to eliminate paper-based documents as much as possible. And we will take that into account. We are not a secret agency. We do not want to bring too much control into the industry. This is not what we are interested in. And actually, if you have some offers related to some other platforms, digital platforms, please go ahead and speak up. We will listen to you and we will fill your. To cut a long story short, I don't want to waste too much of your time. I would like to wish to, as a result of our today's work, to find some practical tools, some experience-based tools, which we could be able to introduce in our work. Feedback is very important. Detailed and complete, exhaustive feedback is very important. We have very tight connections with Bashkortostan, its agencies, stakeholders, and we hope that it is going to develop further and it will make the life of the exporters easier. Actually, we are introducing one of the tools of support. Actually, we are now collecting applications for the compensation, for the discounting of certain expenses of the companies. For R&D, this year we're starting another tool for the support of export-oriented R&D companies, after-sales service. We are permanently streamlining our tools while making them better. And I think that next year we will be able to come up with a couple of new tools. I encourage you to participate as actively as possible. So please speak up. Tell us what you need in terms of government support. So this will increase your cutting edge. I have a request. Please be with me now and tell us how we can possibly improve the tools. We need the feedback. And the more digital platforms of document exchange we have is better. It will make sure that all the stakeholders are working in the same data environment. Thank you so much for the invitation. I wish you a successful session and forum.
Спасибо большое, Роман Андреевич.
Thank you so much, Raman. Margarita, you have a comment. Roman, are you still with us? Yes, of course, I'm here. Roman, I have a question. Since we've met, I heard the question is quite simple and quite mundane. Is there a possibility that there will be a federal financing for the regions in terms of to have so that the regions could have all those tools which you've mentioned? Yes, the answer would be the architecture of the federal project of the industrial export project. All the subsidies, they are conveyed to the exporters themselves or through the loan companies, through the banks, and you could have it as a loan through a bank. In a current architecture, you cannot transfer the funds between the budget of the state, between the federal budget and the regional budget. That, that's actually the specific of agricultural export. We have land development and we have oil production, and actually that is a certain specific of a business because the plant growers, they are usually not exporters. They produce, but they sell their products to the traders to do the exporting. They have vertically integrated structure. But at the same time, as we have already mentioned, our task is to integrate the regions in the export development, both in terms of financial tools and in terms of participation in all the non-financial formats of support. We are working on that together, and we have agreed that in various formats, at various events, we're going to track it. And but if we feel that a tool is supposed to be working with some additional financial resources inside the region, we are ready to discuss that. There are no limitations, no restrictions. The current architecture is like this, as I have said, but we are working on that. We are working together. It's a teamwork. Let's try together to streamline it somehow. And let's get back to this at the beginning of next year and see what happens. And it's great to hear the results that you have obtained. And I'm sure that we will give you the feedback which is necessary for the region. I think you will listen to it. Yes, of course. Let's get together as often as possible at all the events, and let's discuss our proposals and your requests. I think it's a great idea. Thank you so much. So I looks like I had a mini tete-a-tete meeting. I apologize for that, for taking up the time. Margarita and Roman have already mentioned that there is a single window system, which which was established for exporters. As Roman has just said, that we are trying to go away from paper-based document exchange and making sure we don't have paper-based documents, no confirmations. And as an employee of Russian Export Center, I would like to say that some of the subsidies are already implemented in the format of a single window. There is a company, there are a number of companies who don't have to collect paper-based documents anymore and to submit them to the authorities. And sometimes they would forget one document and they would get the rejection and they have to resubmit. So this was quite hectic. And in our expert center, we have been working on the system, trying to understand what kind of services the exporters need, how to implement them, how to obtain them in a user-friendly manner. And I would like to give the floor to Alexei Mikhailik, Vice President of the Russian Export Center, who is responsible for the development of single window system. Please tell us why a single window system for exporters and what kind of perspectives does it have?
Коллеги, добрый день. Спасибо, с удовольствием
Good day,
продолжу.
dear colleagues. It's going to be my pleasure to continue the story of one window. So we can switch to the second slide of the presentation right away.
Задача самого
The
верхнего
task
уровня
of the highest level
достаточно просто.
has been as simple as that, to create
Единую точку доступа,
one point of access for the exporter,
получить все сервисы,
where the exporter would get all the services and not to move along through various bodies, ministries, and providing one and the same set of documents with one and the same set of data. Although the task seems to be simple, it led to the creation of a huge informational system, and we have about 20 bodies connected to it, which are exchanging about 60, 70 types of information, which allows us to launch the real digital services. And it is very important to highlight that the model has been created long ago, and it has been used all over the world in single window in Singapore for the
Проблематика в том, что
is going to be developed like that.
очень ограничена. Например, порт Гамбурга.
So, and for example, for Hamburg, everything in regard to the e-logistics and e-declarations is done like that. So, and Singapore has created a single window for the digital customs service and logistics bank services. Here in Russia, we have a specifics of the following kind. The amount of exporters is not that much. If we take a look at the world benchmarks, it's about 10-15% of all the companies that are doing the exports. In the UK, this is 20% of the companies. Due to this, the amount of services which are being done in one and the same window is much more than that. Services are covering the whole life cycle of the exporter, starting from the search for potential exporters, their training, provision of analytical materials to support their work, to understand the market, to support the provision of the state services, and then through the centers of the support of experts, the institutes of development using the digital platforms, they get the financial services they need. All the services on the live route of the exporter are centralized around the digital profile and around the services which are digitally provided. And the main task is to decrease the administrative obstacles to help the exporters to become more competitive due to these digital solutions. In November last year, we have launched the first set of the services in the single window platform. Globally, they can be divided into 4 parts. The state services, 2 projects such as customs declaration, done along with the Federal Customs Service, and the support of the zero tax rate with the taxation service. The second area of support, as we have mentioned, 2 big subsidies have been implemented, one for exports, another for the support and compensation and participation in the exhibitions. And Roman Andreevich has been supporting in this process of implementation of these subsidies, both on behalf of the local and the international levels. So, and in reality, they are the flagship products. For example, if we were talking about the transport subsidy, the documents have been gathered during several months. Right now, all the documents are online and they are accumulated in 5 days due to the exchange between various bodies and services. And the final decision is made in 15 days instead of 60. From the point of view of exporters, this simplifies the whole process of getting the access to this service. The third part is analytical support, analytical services. So, and they are based on the data which has been gathered by the Russian Expert Center in 5 years of its existence, the information about various barriers, the information about various technological limitations, the data which is gathered from the taxation service and custom service, as well as the international databases which provide the information on the international deliveries, various container deliveries, marketing materials, etc. This allows us to get a request from the exporters and to form the reports which are going to be helping them to choose strategies of entering via various markets, various value shares of the Russian companies, general prices, average prices, including the cold leads of the companies which are buying the products on the territory of foreign countries. And the fourth part is services that are oriented on developing the business of exporters. We're talking about the search for the international buyer and vice versa. So the search for the Russian supplier. And right now we are developing a field of allocating our exporters on the e-platforms of international level. So, and we have another service which takes up various questionnaires and various profiles to match exporters to the vendors, and then there will be a special service of allocating the exporters and the service of using the e-stores. They are going to be connected as well. So where we are and where have we been? In the end of 2020, we have launched the first services, the analytical business services, and two big subsidies. Currently, we have a very big projects with Ministry of Trade and Industry. We're talking about the issuance of the licenses, the digital licenses, and currently we have 3 pilot services and bodies working there, which are providing the authorization documents digitally. The Ministry of Digital Development is supporting this process, which exchanges the data, and the bus of the exchange is the centralized component of the digital government. As I said, so if we're talking about the allocation in the e-platforms, so we are launching the marketplace of the partners services, and we're talking about the partners in 15 various areas. 4 are planned to launch next year, in the beginning of the next year. These are the services in the field of logistics, the legal services, the services of getting to the e-platforms, and the service on searching for potential partners. Currently, we have confirmed the concept of the development for 2024. On the 15th of July, Mr. Mishustin has authorized this incentive, and a great part of work is going to include 10 super services launched each year, the most demanded ones for the exporters, the ones which are creating the ecosystems around export. During the work on the services, we have faced a great amount of tasks connected to digitization. As a result, together with the Ministry of Digital Development, we have created a set of criteria which allows us to look at each service from the point of view of digitization and how digitized it is. So out of 4 standard principles, such as riddance of the paper materials, riddance of the scans, riddance of the human decision making. So we have received a rather lengthy checklist, which allows us to assess what has to be changed in the service in order to make it digital, to use it without any problems. As a result, simple things, such as getting rid of the scans of the documents, leads to a great result indeed, because a scan is a lot of human labor. It is a person who has to read through the scan, who has to extract main data, to verify it, to process it. Most of the data
через электронный обмен между
comes
ведомствами.
through the digital exchange between the bodies. So, and the client doesn't have to input those data manually. All the agreements
по интеграции с электронным бюджетом
lead to the Treasury Department, so on integration of the with the budget.
Коллеги, у нас все, сигнал пропал, да?
Looks like we have some problems with the signal.
Да, Алексей Викторович, к сожалению.
Yes, it looks like unfortunately we don't have signal. Can you hear us? Looks like no. Well, it was actually a very interesting presentation, and I think we should ask the presentation separately, because we will need to look through it in details. Good. Thank you very much for your speech. I believe that your presentation has clarified lots of things, why this single window approach is necessary and why we need to use it. Me, being the integral participant of this process, I urge the Russian exporters to dwell as deep as possible into these processes, to register and start using the services. Right now, we have the high-level search for the clients. We already do the applications to the expos through this resource. We can already appoint for the subsidy, and everything can be obtained here and now online, and the amount of services is going to be expanding. But when we're talking about all the resources which exist for the exporters, single window, the website of the Russian Export Center, the centers for the support of exports, it looks like the exporters don't need to do anything. However, there has to be initiative on behalf of exporters. So there has to be some movement, and that is why we are always urging the Republican exporters and the Russian exporters to be more active, to be on the razor's edge, and to be as initiative as possible. If we're talking about digital tools, they are great. However, we also have to remember the human resource. You have to do things personally, and we have a special set of companies which are actually covering this as well from the points of view of external analytics and the support of the clients. The center of the support of the Export and Russian Export Center are hiring such organizations which can search for the analytics, to find the clients, to host first negotiations, to get the feedback, and to just bring the warm client to the Russian exporter. And I would like to address Timur Garimovich. Could you please tell us about your experience of online search for clients for Russian exporters and the experts of the analysis of the external trade and the analytics, how it supports our Russian exporters?
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, dear colleagues. Can we please bring the presentation on the screen? Can we have a presentation? I will try to be brief, but I'm sure it will be as practical as possible. I will talk about foreign trade relations, analytics, and searching for partners online. Some technical issues. So, in the beginning, I would like to say that in my opinion, in 2021, expert is developing in a not natural way. I highlighted three main reasons: the low ruble exchange rate compared to other world currencies, and also development of the tools of state support and global crisis in the world of logistic services. I think number one doesn't have to be explained compared to other countries who are exporting products and services. I think our domestic exporters have an opportunity to offer a more competitive price. Speaking about number two, about global crisis in logistics services, I think it's quite real. Several years ago, we could bring a 20 feet container in 35 days from China. It was around $2,000. Now it's $12,000, and it takes 90 days. It's a very long lead time. And for this reason, many foreign buyers, for them, it's cheaper to export from Russia because there is less distance, because you can also use automobile transportation. And number three, the development of the mechanisms of state support of exporters. I think each region nowadays has an expert support center, which are of a huge help. They do that free of charge. So please feel free to use their services. When we began exporting, we faced several problems of beginner exporting company. In my opinion, the most important here are preparation for the product export, analyzing tariffs and fares and taxes, and negotiating the conditions of export deal, preparing export contract, foreign exchange coordination, logistics, customs, documents for export, and so on and so forth. I will talk about this in more detail a bit later. So here, regarding, I have said that my presentation is practical. I would like to pay attention to all the online resources which are there, which you use to analyze expert potential of your own company and to look for partners. The first one is called stat.customs. It is based on a database of the internet web page of a federal customs service. There is a lot of information, useful information. You can receive the data for the past 3 years in terms of export from Russia to other countries of the world, money-wise, volume-wise, quantity-wise. You will not see some certain companies, but in terms of federal regions, I think you can have that statistics. Number two, which you have to pay attention to, is UN Trade. It's it's a website of United Nations. It's more or less the same with Stat Customs. You can look at the foreign exchange between the countries of the world. If Stat Customs use 10-digit number of foreign economic activity, and UN Trade, you can use 6 digits from that code to see, for example, the trade exchange between Russia and Canada, China and Canada, and both in money-wise and quantity-wise. There are also other open sources. Mainly, those sources are restricted. The access is restricted. It is paid. We use them when we look for customers, but nevertheless, I think I will talk about them a bit later. Once we understand where to look for the clients, if we want to export, I suggest to start with the analysis of a chosen country. So in all those resources which I have shown you, you can go ahead and analyze company gradually, and you will receive an analysis of detailed custom statistics. You can get access from that, and our colleagues from the Russian Expert Center, they are of huge helps here. I think it's one of the most powerful tools helping you to find the end client. Who the client is, let's take Canada, for example, and we want to sell there. We will see importers, who buys, or the codes, the weight, the quantity. It's a super powerful tool which you have to use, especially if we look for partners online. Then let's go to the analysis of the measures of tariff and non-tariff control in a destination country. If we don't use some standard tools which everyone recommends when you export, for example, FSA, when we just want to get rid of the product from our warehouse, and all the risks in this case are transferred to the importer, and you have to do all the paperwork, pay the fare, pay the tax. If we don't use this, we have to do that ourselves. Well, I not don't recommend to sell on the conditions of such kind. Also on the international trade market or Russian export center, you may see the measures of non-tariff and tariff regulation. You can get prepared for the European Union. And then we come to the preliminary contract with a potential partner. Please pay special attention to that. Once we have analyzed everything and we understand what to sell, where to, which country to, we get down to the search of partners, and we need to pay special attention to the commercial proposal and presentation materials. We should have our materials in the language of a target country. For example, if we sell to Kazakhstan, we should have our presentation translated into Kazakh language, or China, Chinese language, and so on and so forth. And if you sell to Japan, you should have your presentation materials in Japanese, France, French language, English. You may use English as a universal, as an all-purpose language, but I think it's better to spend some money and time to translate a presentation and your booklets and leaflets and webpage into the target language of a country you are exporting to. Then we should create a contact database. We use statistics, custom statistics of various countries, and we almost don't use Russian. We have a lot of partners abroad who provide us with their databases. We analyze them, and then we begin personal contact. We call them, and we uh, we need to find the platforms and format of a meeting. Actually, it's a very simplified image, but since we search for partners online, we need to, from the very start, to choose a platform and format of a meeting with a potential client. Then we can choose the application, Zoom, Telegram, WhatsApp, Teams. And I would like to pay attention to the fact that it depends on the country, because recently we were selling to the USA some nail polish, and they did not want to communicate in Zoom, only WhatsApp. And mostly the clients were ladies. We were selling, as I said, lashes, eyelashes, and nail polish. Well, Margarita comments, as far as I know, with the Crimea, for example, you can communicate through certain links. What was the reason here? Actually, it's the question of convenience. They are not used to, can you hear me well? I have a feeling that my microphone is not working. But okay, let's discuss that a bit later. Now we come to the product presentation. Let's say we communicated, we agreed to meet in Zoom, everyone is happy, and we're ready to coordinate logistics, to negotiate logistics and payment method. I think logistics is very important. It's the basis of the contract, and also the basis of your comfort. And if you wrongly choose the logistics tools, the whole contract may collapse. Except for this search, I was going to talk about these tools. I have already, and I did already, but I would like to repeat. So make sure you analyze customs statistics after the report, after my presentation. Those of you who are interested, I can tell you which resources you can use, which are the cheapest. International trade map, then a web page of the Russian Export Center. I think it's in Russian. Maybe it's not available anymore, but it has French, English, Chinese. You can study the measures of monetary and non-monetary support. There are also local databases which we provide, and you can have a lot of open data or restricted data in those systems. There is a whole bunch of data available. And the last slide, what are the tasks you can resolve using the tools which I've mentioned? There are not numerous, but they are enough, in my opinion, to start to develop your export potential. First, you should search for importers on the target product. You should declare, and you should determine the volume of purchase, of procurement cost, and quantity of purchased product, price per unit of product, then a list, codes, and you should track your competitors. You should know who your competitors are. Then you should track what they do, how they improve, what is happening, and you should be aware. So briefly, this is what I was going to tell you. So those of you who have questions after this session, please come up to me. I will be eager to answer them. Thank you very much, Timur. He showed us the logic, how to enter a foreign market, how to approach the stage of negotiations. The rest depends on you solely. Of course, you may use the services of the companies or the Center of Export Support. You can do it yourself if you wish. There are a lot of resources and tools, and I would like to mention that this logic of progress, how to choose a client, how to sell, how to switch to negotiations, and you can have that, you can obtain that through some training programs of the Russian Export Center. All the logic is given there, how to, some tools. And of course, I will agree with you here that there are a lot of resources which let us have the foreign trade statistics. I have a practical example. Yesterday, I talked to a company who produce a mesh for the packing, for the packages of potatoes and onions, and we were analyzing how they could use the trade map and the expert of the region, Euro pages. Those were the resources which we used to look for the client. We looked at the statistics of trade exchange with a given country, and we saw that in some of the countries are, you cannot go to a country who imports a lot of potatoes and onions with your products, of course. Please use these services so you can have it free of charge. And we've been talking so much about the measures of export support. So let's give the floor to our colleague who is the second best, first but one, and tell us about the mistakes you made, tell us about the tools you used, and what is the tool which helps you? Tell us, please. So please come up to our colleague. Ildus is there to help you. And of course, I would like to give some cases, some white papers. So our colleague here will tell you about how to cooperate, how to interact, and how to search for clients. So let's give the floor to our colleague.
Good day, dear colleagues. Yes, we have heard how we are moving towards the export operations, how we're supporting the enterprises, in what fields and areas we are moving, and I would like to draw our example to show how we went through this. Our first address and application was in spring of this year, and I will tell you about the results we achieved. I represent company Bashprontorg. We are doing the wholesale trade of the food products. And I represent another company, Crystal. It's a production and manufacturing company. In spring of this year, we managed to create a product absolutely unique in the world. And initially, we addressed the Ministry of Trade, the Republican Ministry of Trade, to support us with the communication with various internal consumer companies to find out who might be interested in our company. And there was another suggestion to go to experts. We had expert experience, so we went through the third party and we simply sold our product to a manufacturer in the United States through them. Then, thanks to Margarita Dmitrievna, we met each other, so we told what we want to do, and we were sent to the center of for the support of experts. And just as it has been sent by Margarita Dmitrievna, everything was manual indeed. Starting from June, we have been addressed to a mix company. We have found 3 countries which were interesting to us, and during a week, we received analytics for these countries. We understood the average volumes, the competitors, what can be done, what cannot be done, and we stopped on only 1 country out of those 3, Belarus. So the analytics was really good. It was full, it was precise and accurate. So first we were using Google, we were getting some information from there. So and MX provided us with unique data. Moreover, they arranged the negotiations with the potential buyers. And as we started in June, we already have the contract signed. We had the first delivery shipment made. So the Belarus representatives came to us again. So they looked at our production and manufacturing capacities, looked at our products, and the third company is also interested in working. So we already signed the contracts with them, and we are doing the shipments already. So we received the full information from the Center for Support of Export certificates, development of the contract, and one of the achievements for us was that we arranged the export of honey to the United States, to Los Angeles. We signed a contract with the buyer. They have developed the contract for us, and they developed the contracts with the manufacturer of the honey. So this was the full chain of business. We received information on the package, on the label, on everything. So, and I would like to say a separate word of thanks to the head of the Center for the Experts who supported us. And once again, we addressed them in June. So right now it's September. We already have a contract with the US, with a Los Angeles company. So, and we have sent a 20-feet container to Los Angeles with a pilot shipment. We have a contract with the Belarus company. We have already signed the second contract with the Belarus company, and the third one is going to be signed. We have the representatives going there. So, and MX also provided the analytics on the companies which are working in Belarus. After this analytics, we started promoting our product there and continued on our journey. This is one of the examples when there is theory and there is practice. Everything that has been said before can be supported by us. Indeed, it works. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, once again, the rays of fame indeed. Thank you very much. It's delighting when we can see cases which are showing the real deeds, which are showing that yes, we can sell Bashkir honey, we can sell salt, you never know. But of course, the Republican exporters and the Russian exporters are not always expected and awaited there. Anyhow, you need to look for the clients today, tomorrow, and continuously. So I would like to address Mr. Orlov. How are you looking for the client? Good day, Orlov, Artyom. I will speak more about the platforms after lunch. We have lots of very successful cases. We represent 6 platforms on the territory of Russia, and let me tell a couple of words about Vicon company. Last year, we helped Russian companies to conclude contracts for 3 billion euro in total. In 9 months, we already done this work for 4 million euro, and we're hoping that this number will only grow by the end of the year. And our main task is for the Russian companies to sell their products, to take their products to the countries of EU, to CIS countries and other countries of the world. But I would also like to highlight another thing. Our colleagues have shown the tools to look for the partners abroad. Yes, we are using those databases and their tools. I will tell about it in more details later, but let me talk about the challenges. How exactly we can achieve these results? What challenges have to be overcome? So, of course, how can we achieve better results? 10 million euro, 100 million euro, etc. So this is the goal. First, specification. When we're looking for the partner, this is a first challenge. Some centers for the support of experts are saying, we want to export things to Italy, but there is no market for such a product because there are strong competitors and the company provides us with the specification, but unfortunately we cannot do anything. Some centers for the support of experts in some regions are supporting this work, but some do not. And this is a challenge indeed, because if the specification is like that initially, you cannot do anything. It is going to be very hard to accomplish this task, and the company will not receive an export contract. The Republican Export Center is always trying to discuss things, and sometimes it is impossible with the other ones. Another thing, sometimes it is necessary to deliver products to the EU countries, but EU countries are each specific, culture-wise, and etc. So, and I'd like to highlight this. And another pain of ours is the certificates. Many Russian companies, unfortunately, do not have certificates necessary for the European Union. For example, the fuel certificates, EN plus A1 certificates. We have lots of products which are produced here, but we have less consumption for that. It is biofuel in Europe, and it is very demanded. Unfortunately, if you do not have the certificate, then the price drops. So it goes down to $120 per ton. These certificates are very expensive, and sometimes they cannot be afforded by the exporters from Russia. Of course, there are subsidies. So in the subsidies up to 70% within 1 million, it is a great means of support, but unfortunately, some exporters cannot receive such certificates, and this is an obstacle indeed to enter the market. Another certificate, APC, it's a very important certificate for the company which is working with the forest products. So without EN plus A1 EPC, so you cannot export with the fair prices. So lots of these companies, the European companies, are buying the products without these certificates. They are legalizing these products, and then they double the price to sell to Germany, to France, to the Netherlands, etc. So these are the Baltic countries which are doing this. So these money could go to the Russian Federation, but unfortunately they are going to the countries of Baltic Sea. So certification is a vital means that has to be supported, and we need to support the Russian exporters to obtain those certificates. Here you can see the link to Europa EU with the statistics information, and you can see the statistics of the trade between Russia and EU country-wise, and we're using this resource when we are looking for a partner in the countries of the European Union. Also, you can find other countries of Europe there. The main importer countries to the Russian Federation can be seen there as well, so I'm not going to dwell too long for about this. So what to begin with? I think that everything is rather clear for most people here, so I'm not going to speak in much detail here. So what we need to draw our attention to, it is very hard to establish proper communication for the Russian company. The regional companies find it very hard to work with the contractors, and this is basically the first experience for them to work directly with the foreign companies. Some people do not know how to show the product during the Zoom conference. Of course, we consult them, we show them how to do it properly. However, I believe that we need to establish special training for that. I know that there is a school of exporter, which is very important, but unfortunately, there are not enough courses like that. We need to improve the training. So I would like to highlight that the Russian companies have been working very hard to deliver their products, and of course, they get more and more educated. And this is a good sign indeed. Some more statistics. Export to Europe from the Russian Federation. So these are very useful links. Please use those. Great statistics indeed. Some of those things have already been mentioned, so let's not dwell too long on those things. So CE certificate is a very important thing because without it you cannot sell many items to the Europe. It's a very expensive one. You cannot obtain it on the territory of the Russian Federation. You have to address their laboratories on the territory of EU, and without the certificates and directives of the EU, where 14 special items are listed there, so you cannot sell with your products in the European market legally, and the European vendor is going to be fined. So this is a great obstacle for the Russian companies to obtain this certificate, because you've got to go to Europe, you've got to bring samples. Sometimes there are problems with the customs legislation, because you cannot simply bring samples to the laboratory abroad to do all the research to obtain this thing. So you've got to look for workarounds. It's very complicated, and you really have to look for ways to improve the legislation in this regard for the Russian exporters to bring the samples to the laboratory without such obstacles, to do the testing and research, because there are lots of papers on the sales, etc. So lots of red tape indeed. Last changes which are affecting the development of business in Europe. Brexit affected the business a lot. There are lots of limitations due to COVID-19. The sea travels have become more expensive, and we actually noticed that the Russian export has become more demanded, especially in the regions of the northwest bordering and the regions bordering with the EU, Pskov, Smolensk, Bryansk, and these were the regions which benefited from these rising prices on the sea transportation. The relevant situation in the EU: high demand on the market of the construction materials. Pipes are in demand, wood materials and insulation materials are in demand. Some German companies are supporting Russian companies to create the certificates if the product is demanded, and they understand that these volumes are going to be needed. Due to the fact that pandemic affected on the manufacturers of pipes and lots of companies got bankrupt. The pandemic is over, the demand is still there, and the companies cannot work and they cannot create their products. And some construction products and the vendors are supporting the Russian companies in this field. Bioproducts is a trend, healthy food, etc. Companies from different Russian regions have started supplying the frozen berries to Germany. They obtained the certificates to support the quality. The German companies didn't believe them. They had to do the research, the testing in their own labs, and after that, the Russian company supplied and shipped 2 big trucks of the frozen berries, and now they are shipping the third one. This export contract process is very complicated. Of course, we're doing it online. We're looking for the importers. We are exchanging contacts, but this is often the end of the whole situation, but there has to be several stages more: signing the export contract, discussing and negotiating the logistics, the customs, etc. And some Russian exporters which had single deliveries are not experienced enough. We, Vicon, we are supporting the company. We are not leaving the company on their own, even when they have fulfilled all their conditions according to the contract. Another thing is getting rid of plastics. I have to interrupt you here. Just 1 more minute. So we are not exporting plastic. Yes, once again, a new directive. So the wooden dishes and wooden tableware is very popular in Europe. So let's skip those things. Okay, I'm running out of time here. But anyhow, if we're talking about the useful links, please take a photo. So they are open, so you can get the consultations. So I'm running out of time once again. Let's move. Once again, useful links. Online expos are very popular. So the real expos are not working, and you can get lots of contacts online without registration.
Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for inviting me to speak here. I represent Vicon. Our contact details here. Please feel free to contact us. We will be eager to give consultations free of charge. No problem with that. Our main goal is to so that more Russian companies export their goods to CIS and European countries. Uh, I don't think it's possible. Let's check. Looks like some link is not working. Which slide do you mean? I don't think it's possible. I think it's a mistake. Thank you very much for being so attentive. And I will assure you that this will never happen again in my presentation. You can go ahead and talk to Artyom at the round table, which we're going to have soon. And of course, during the lunch break and other breaks, you will be able to do that. We are a bit behind the schedule, so Margarita apologized. She has a meeting to attend. We have 2 more speakers. One of them is a B2B platform from KZ. Kazakhstan has always been our main partner, and we have a lot of companies who cooperate, work with Kazakhstan, and we very often recommend to train, to use Kazakhstan as a pilot project, because the customs procedures are quite simple. The geography is quite close to Russia, similar mentality, post-Soviet memories. And so I would like to give the floor to Alma Sarkiseva. Please, could you briefly tell us about the platform which you created in terms of the search for the partners and counter-agents? Thank you very much for the invitation to participate in Sabantui. I will, just like our previous colleagues who spoke, we provide services But what makes us different that we are in a country of export, Kazakhstan, which we are planning to ship your products to. Indeed, Russia is our main trade partner, and Bashkortostan is one of its regions. And we cooperate in petrochemistry, military, um, and petroleum and some other. With the pandemic in 2020, business wasn't actually ready for such a blow on the economy, and accordingly, it took some time to adapt. And already in 2021, the trade surplus, the trade exchange between Kazakhstan and Russia, has grown by 26.8%. And I think that actually part of it happened due to online trade. What kind of services do we provide? We can help you search for a partner in offline, online mode, and as Timur already mentioned, this mechanism, this logic is more or less the same. How you search, we use same tools to search for clients, for partners, and for stakeholders, but also we use some of our proprietary tools. I think it's impossible to replace a human being. It's impossible to replace offline meetings when you need to talk to a person physically. We have our own format, which has been around since 2019. We have our own tools of support to search for a partner. In 2019, we opened a showroom of Russian manufacturers where you may have offline or online demonstration, some preliminary demonstration of your product, and look for partners. May I have the next slide, please? Please scroll forward. I would like to talk about our showroom. One step back, please. Okay. Thank you. So, this is our unique project. We opened it back in 2019. It was the first showroom ever of Russia on the territory of Kazakhstan. It's a permanent stand at the exhibition, which is focused on B2B sales. The companies may present their samples without attending. So you can see some samples here. And our PM, they will demonstrate, they will look for partners online for a Russian exporter. You don't have to visit personally. It's kind of an agency service. All you have to do is to provide samples. What are the gains? What are the wins? It's a unique opportunity for a client of Kazakhstan. They attend the showroom. They can feel it, they can touch it, they can try it. And actually, very often in a marketplace online, you can see a pretty looking picture, but when you get the product, you may be disappointed. It doesn't match your expectations. Here, you're able to look at it. You can take a close look. You can touch it. You can see the materials that I used. You can see the design very close up. I apologize for speaking very quickly because we are pressed for time. So we give you a checkup. We tell you how many visits were there and what were the quality and quantity, what was the target audience. We give a list of the so-called hot, warm contacts. And what makes our room different, we give you a guaranteed expert contract. But before choosing a company, we make a thorough analysis. Yes. What are the advantages you get through participation, through cooperation with us? We are in Kazakhstan physically, and I think that we are those who know very, very well what is happening from the inside. What are the regulations? What are the taxes? What is the legislation? Any updates in legislation? What are the regulating norms? We are here. We understand business activity better. We understand the potential of a country you export to, especially for Russian exporters. So may I have the next slide, please? So these are our wins in 9 months, starting from 2021. We have concluded more than 150 business countries, worth of 45 million rubles. Starting from 2016, when we were established, when we established our company, we have top officials participating, business delegations, and also the we have reverse business missions when we send our Kazakhstan buyers to Russia. As I have already said, we have concluded more than 250 export contracts, and many of them became possible thanks to our showroom. So we have a Facebook account. We have a casebook, sorry. We have a casebook. You can download it. I'm sorry for interrupting, but we are very severely pressed for time, and we have one more speaker, so please, can you wound up? What I mean to say is that Kazakhstan partners are a bit jealous of Russian exporters because there are huge measures of support from the government. We are very much impressed with, we call our Kazakhstan companies telling, please buy from Russian importers. And they usually answer, can you please help us also because Russia helps their exporters? Can you help our importers? And so please use the services of Russian Export Center. Go ahead. I encourage you to use the services of Russian Export Center. And I would like to say what Alexei has said regarding single window. We will also be very willing to participate in this system as the service supplier. Please feel free to contact us. We are open for any communication. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you need the presentations, you can always find the contacts of the company through the Expert Support Center. I think it's a great idea. It's a great first step to exhibit your company in a showroom of Kazakhstan. And our final speaker is Renat Magafurov, who is the head of marketing of he participated in our export forsage program, and we are jealous, but in a complementary way, of how they enter the markets. Renat, could you please tell us about your case and how did you come up with this idea?
Thank you for giving floor to me. Yes, I'm the head of the sales department of the weighing equipment factory from Beloretsk. In short, give us the weighing points and we will weigh your business. So our weighing equipment is a detector of your business, so we can weigh your products on different stages, and our products are demanded in many fields of industry. So we're talking about heavy machinery, the mining, the agricultural, etc. In 12 years of our work, the export wasn't the main thing we did. So there were some applications, but in general, We didn't do the development of exports until the December of 2020, when we expanded our production capacity and we decided to enter the other markets. But why should we discover the US? We have the Russian Export Center and their support. We went through the training from A to Z. So we just took up the experience of our colleagues and friends, not to bump on our own. So we used all the subsidies, all the measures of support, etc. And I would like to highlight one of the tools, search for the partner abroad, using the contractors given to us by the Center for Support of Exports. The experience is of working with Belarus and of working with Kazakhstan. So in September we're going to prepare this. If you don't have the representative officers there, so I suggest to work with this company, so which goes as a contractor from the Center for the Support of the Exports. Because you might have a great marketing department in Russia. There will be obstacles in the other country because your managers might be misheard, they might be doubted, but if the contractor is going to do it there on land, they're going to choose and select the companies, and there is a high chance that they will find a potential buyer. You have to create a detailed specification for that, the picture of the buyer, to explain all the details to the contractor, not just to try to cover everything and everyone. A B2B company which we were working in Kazakhstan in June has supported us on this, and as a result of 3 months' work, we managed to conclude 4 export contracts through them. So we went to the expo separately, but the potential client was searched by them. Speaking of Belarus, we went to business mission there. So it was prepared by the local Belarus company. And I would like to highlight that the organizations opened their doors to us, and we couldn't enter them without their help. Belarus Railroad, for example, we had preliminary negotiations, online ones, so presentation, and after that, the Belarus party decided to arrange a meeting with them in Minsk. We went with the contractor, with the marketing department representatives, we went through the negotiations, and right now we are already concluding a contract on delivering our products. Also, Ministry of Agriculture of Belarus, once again, online meeting, then offline meeting, and now we are signing a contract with the testing and research station for the machinery to deliver our products. If you want to go to export, I recommend to arrange business missions and B2B contractors. Of course, you need to look for the dealers, for the representatives and distributors, because locals cherish locals, judging by the experience, because Kazakhstan showed a very interesting experience. 2 companies didn't want to sign a contract during an expo because of lockdown, which occurred in June. And then they decided to reject us because we don't have service departments or branch offices there. And in 2020, they had a problem when all the borders were closed and no foreign specialists could arrive to the country. That is why I recommend to look for dealers, for the representatives, first of all, but you need to work with the contractors first. to establish such work. So, thank you, Renat. It is great to see your success. It is great to see how you are developing your external economic affairs. Thank you very much for this roundtable, dear colleagues. We are running out of time right now. I am willing to answer questions personally, but of course, behind the curtains, the session is almost over. I really hope that we managed to take a look at how things are going digital from the point of view of digitization of economy, and I guess we have some insight how we are going to be present on various external markets.